Yo, what is up you guys? So in today's video we're actually going to make some pumping bass lines and we're going to be using kicks to do that, and I'll show you guys how I kind of made my kick and other things about that. So let's actually just listen to what that sounds like. So you could hear that pumping bass in there, and what that is just another kick, but this kick was made with a pumping motion in it already. So if you choose a kick that doesn't really sound like that, then you could just use a normal kick and reverse it. Ideally, you don't want to use the same kick, but you can. It's just more work that you have to do to make those two fit. So let's start with the top kick. So this is just my normal clean kick. So both of these kicks are actually from my kick pack. And the reason why I chose the clean kick from there is because I know that pack. I made the pack. I made it for me. So I know that those are uncompressed. They're not in mono. They're like, I know everything about them. So I like using them. And so all I did in addition to that is just cut out a little bit, carve out some frequencies with the EQ to kind of shape the tone a little bit more. Basically getting rid of frequencies that I don't think are essential. I added a utility to make it mono, but I added that in. So you can see I just pulled the width all the way down to 0, so that way it's mono, where the kick should be, just right there, dead in center, where it should be, just providing a lot of power. And then I added a kickstart. So the kickstarts are actually really important. If you don't have plugins like Kickstart or LFO Tool, you could just use fades. And I used to use fades all the time to do the exact same thing. So you don't have to have this, but it's a lot easier if you do, or it saves you some time really. Probably with fades you could be a lot more precise, or with LFO Tool. I just use this one because I like it. And that's really it. So what I do with my top kick is I'm making the kick a lot shorter than it really is. Even though the kick is already short to begin with, I make sure it's even shorter than that, so that way there's still room for the next pumping bass wall to kind of come in. So if you've ever been in a club and you've heard a really terrible song where you hear like the song before it's really pumping and there's like a lot of like that bass wall pump sort of thing, like boom boom boom, that kind of thing, and then you hear a song where that comes right after that where the bass just sounds like there's no dynamics. That's because the kick is way too fucking long. So to get rid of that and to make room for bass lines and all that, you basically just should have a short kick. And so doing this makes room for the next kick. So now let's get into that. So now we can see that with the offset kick, we can see that I'm actually keeping it really tight in there. So I'm both of those presets I used 100%, not bringing it down or less. I need the full power of this. And additionally, you probably want to fade a little bit of these in so you'll get a tighter result. Right now I'm okay with where it's at, but if I really wanted to the mix to be more dynamic and for more pumping, I should fade those, I should fade out the top kick more and then fade in the bottom kick in a little bit, so that way there's some space where there's no low end, and you need no low end so that when the listener knows when there is low end. So if there's just low end the whole time, that's not exciting. You can't dance to a long sustaining bass line, or it just sounds like total horseshit. But if it's pumping and you're taking it away and giving it back, that is danceable. That is the pumping effect. If we wanted to be more precise, what we could do is use Control-Alt-F to bring out our little fade tool. So we could just, let's just loop this one. And what we could do is just really make sure that it is a lot shorter. So we're going to just go at least halfway there, shorten that, and then pull it back. So the good thing about these clean kicks is you really don't notice if it's faded out because they're already so short. And let's do Control-Alt-F down here. And ideally we want to fade this in a little bit gradually. But what I'm aiming for is to at least have a little bit of room, at least that much room where there's no low end. Assuming that, there's no low end anywhere else in your mix, but at least in the kick and bass section, at least there's a gap there. So anyways, let's kind of focus a little bit on the processing of this now, and then I'll talk about how I made the kick sample here that is down here. So I reshowed you the kickstart here. Actually, let me delete the extra one. Don't want that there. And I added a little bit overdrive. So I was kind of picky why I added overdrive and not other types of distortion. Other types of distortion would move the low, or would add too much harmonics or distort everything, and I didn't really want that. I just want to kind of overdrive it a little bit, and just so that way there's more mid harmonics coming in. So I could actually show you that with a spectrum. So if we select the spectrum and make our grid size a little bit bigger and just play this, so you could see those little extra peaks that came in, and that really just helps it stand out more in the mid frequencies. Now if we kind of come back to the spectrum, we're actually going to look at this sample, why I chose this sample to be the offset or the pumping effect part of this. So let's just solo this, and I want you to watch what happens to the top peak, how it kind of rolls over. So that is something I did in this VST called Kick. So it's a kick making plugin. So it's made by Sonic Academy. I don't have it on this computer, so I'll probably have to cut to footage of that from my Mac. But what I did basically was I added a little bit of pitch towards the end of the kick. So in the ending decay of it, I just made the pitch go up. So that way the kick sounds like ba and then boom. So let's see, Tech 6. So let's just throw it down there. Let's grab that analyzer and just use that again. So I'll show you how to use normal kicks. Basically, we'll just have to reverse it to kind of get something similar, so that we have that going up motion in the pitch. So that way it feels like the frequencies are pumping back up after the kick has kind of decayed out. So that is another part of making the pump a little bit better. So that one actually might be a lot better. So let's reverse this, and let's kind of take out a little bit of that, take it further back, and let's see, everything, let's reapply everything else I added. So plugins, let's go to Kickstarter. Let's add this fucker in right here. There we go. And let's grab a utility there. Booyaka. And what else? What else? Let's add that overdrive in case we need it. And let's listen to this. Kind of nice, actually. I kind of like both of them. I obviously prefer the one we started with a lot more, but you know, this is a nice viable second option and kind of nice. So you can see you can do this with any kick, but you'll have to reverse them instead. So but thanks guys for watching, and of course, lates.